Let's talk about the overall market. A lot of people asking the question, guys, as we head into the weekend here, was that the bottom? It kind of felt like the bottom. The amount of volume that came in both Thursday and Friday this week back to the upside, lifting a lot of these beaten down stocks back to the upside. Let's ask the question here, guys. Was that it?
So I think there's some good signs of a temporary bottom, at least put in by the overall market. A couple of things to keep in mind here. From the outset, I mean, the Fed hasn't even slowed down their balance sheet at this point. Like there's a lot of big things that have to happen in the back half of the year. But a lot of the sell-off that we'd had last couple of days had to do with the conflict. And what I find at least interesting is you had a couple of key names bounce off some good levels, like an Apple or so. But when I look at what happened in the SPY, and I could pull up a million charts that are like this, I'm just going to happen to use the SPY, and you're going to see that crazy wick down on the SPY. But you had a high volume capitulation bottom followed up by a couple of days of selling and then breaking through the initial resistance point and following through, which we're actually doing today. So that's a pretty strong bullish sign on just about any chart that you're about to make a bit of a temporary bottom when you get that V-shaped recovery. And there are so many names that did this, right? Like you had most of the super beat up names that put in those types of lows and that same V-shape hold the next level of support and then break out the next leg. Now, the thing is, that's a momentum bottom. All the fundamental reasons why the market can be weak and might pull back and have less growth this year are still going to be in play. So I'm not going to go out and say, oh, from here, we're never going to see the lows again. But a temp bottom on the fears over what's going on in Europe, I think that can be safely said, especially for the stronger, bigger tech names. I don't know that you can go on that far of a limb when you're talking about, and I hate to say it, well, the Affirms of the world or the Virgin Galactics of the world, but certainly for some of the big tech and for the overall market itself, like the SPY, the NASDAQ, I think they put a nice little temp bottom. They do have some work to do for the rest of the year, in my opinion.
Yeah, because the video was it a temp bottom? Let's just have a quick look here. This is the target rate probability for the Fed meeting on the 16th of March, right? I know this is going to be hard to see. I tried to download it in a PDF and everything, so I'll do the best to explain it to you. This green line here, right, which was all the way down here from November, December, it started to inch up. This line was the probability of 50 to 75 basis points, right, of a move up, so 50 points. So as you can see, on the extension here, we got all the way up to almost 100% just in the beginning, midway through February. So just last week, we were almost at like 94% probability for that rate hike, right? And now, after yesterday, it drops all the way back down here to 38%. So we went from 90, let's call it 95%, down to 38% just yesterday. And there's the ultimate bottom there that we had was about 22 or 23%. And now look at how low the 25 basis points was, virtually nothing, down to 10%. And now we're all the way up right here to about 65%. So for me, it's not just do Neil, myself, and Brendan think that maybe it's made a bottom, but maybe the market is signaling this and saying, hey, you know what? Maybe we don't need that 75 point cut or rate hike, sorry, not cut, hike there in the future in the fund rate. But we'll see now, is it coming back in to more likely to see 25 points rather than 50? Because a 50-point hit, I'm assuming right now, people think would absolutely destroy the market. So is it a bottom? I feel like the higher probability now for just 25 points may have signaled a bottom in the market. So that's what I'm going with. Do I necessarily believe it? I don't know. We're going to wait to see on March 16th. I think that'll be telling, Brendan.
A lot of signs pointing to, at least temporarily, that might have been a bottom. Let's see what happens, guys. March 10th, we'll get the next inflation reading, and then the 15th and 16th, the next Fed meeting, and this rate hike that is to come as we head through to March.